Shalom, Israel. We are Israel United in Christ. Today we're here to tell you who you are according to the Bible. Read what you got.
John chapter 8, verse 32. And ye shall know the truth.
You shall know the truth.
And the truth shall make you free.
And the truth shall make you free. What is the truth? The truth that you are the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American. You are the Israelite that the Bible speaks of.
That's right.
So stop calling yourself African American. Stop calling yourself Mexican. You are the Israelite. You have to come back and learn who you are according to the Bible. So, brother, I see you are listening. Do you know what's your nationality? As I told you, do you know what is your nationality?
African American.
Okay. So, where were you born?
Right here.
Right here? Where?
My ancestors, Dr. Bill, my ancestors.
Yeah. Where's the ancestor from? Africa, what part?
All over. Tell us, we need to be educated.
Okay, good. According to the scripture, if you are the descendant of the slave trade people, you are an Israelite.
That's right.
Let's go to Deuteronomy 28. We'll show you who you are, my brother. Verse 1. According to the Bible, there was prophesied that the children of Israel will go into cargo slave trade, cargo slave ship. They were going to go into slavery because if we don't listen to what God says, read what you got.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 1. And it shall come to pass.
God gave the word to Moses to tell the children of Israel. The children of Israel at that time, that's when they come out of Egypt. So God told Moses to tell the children of Israel that will happen. Read.
If thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
If you listen to what God says, you do read it again.
And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
If you listen to do what God says diligently, you pay attention, you listen to what he said, what's going to happen?
To observe and to do all his commandments.
When you listen, you're just not just listening, but you have to do what he says. Read.
Which I have commanded thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations on the earth.
So, the children of Israel, if they were to listen to what God says, they will be above all nations of the earth. Just like today, you got the so-called the Caucasian race. He's above all nations of the earth.
Right.
He's above the Chinese, he's above the Japanese, he's above everybody.
Right.
That was your place. But because you choose not to do what God says, that's why you're at the bottom, because 15.
Deuteronomy 28 verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken.
So, Deuteronomy 28 is a contract, is an agreement that God takes with the children of Israel. If you do what I ask you to do, you will be above. But now there's a flip side to the coin. If you don't do what you're supposed to do, then there's another, either you're going to get a reward or you're going to get a punishment.
Right.
So since we are at the bottom today, that means we did not do what he says. So, but let's see the punishment of not doing what God says. Read it again.
Deuteronomy 28 verse 15. But it shall come to pass.
That's going to happen.
If thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments.
Keep telling you to do all his commandments. But this time here is going to happen if you don't do all the commandments. Read.
And his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Now my question to you, brother, is curse a good thing or a bad thing? Curse is a good thing or a bad thing? It's a bad thing. So now God says to Moses that all these bad things are going to happen to you if you don't do what I said. You have children. When you have the rules in your house, you tell them do this. If you don't do that, you're going to punish them. So this is what God was telling us. If you don't do what I asked you to do, then you're going to be punished.
That's right.
Read verse 32.
Deuteronomy 28 verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people.
When did that happen? When your sons and your daughter was given to another people. Did that happen to us? When?
Back in the day when we were slaves.
Yeah. Isn't it happening again still today?
Yes.
How?
Well, I mean, with my daughter, she has to be subjectified to in the culture, in the society.
Back then in the day, they would take your children and give it to somebody else. Today.
Oh, yeah.
Today, is it still happening?
Yes.
How?
They say, oh, you're mentally incompetent. Give your children over to the state.
There you go. So even to this day, the curses are still upon us today. But you have to do what God says. They can take, God can take it off of you if you do what He says.
That's right.
By not doing what God says, you're still gonna remain at the bottom. The curses that was of old, they still apply today. But you can remove yourself out of those curses by keeping what God says. Read it again.
Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people.
Just like you said, in the past in slavery, they will take your child, give it to somebody else. Read.
And thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long. And there shall be no might in thine hand.
So, back in the day, in slavery days, when they take your child from you, you didn't have no power, no military power, no money to get your child back, right? So it's today. Today, when the state get your children, you can try so-called fight to get them back, but it's not guaranteed you're gonna get them back. Read verse 41. Let's see what happened.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 41.
So now, when they give your child to another people, was it just going for fun? Are they just going to rejoice themselves? Read what happened.
Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them.
You will have sons and daughters, but you will not enjoy them. Why?
For they shall go into captivity.
Because they're going into slavery. So who is God talking to right there? He was talking to the children of Israel, which is us today. So, read verse 46.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 46.
So what are we proving to you right now? We are proving you that we are the biblical Israelites the Bible speaks of. Read it.
And they shall be upon thee for a sign and a wonder.
So, the scripture said, and they shall be upon thee for a sign and a wonder. What is that day stand for?
What is that day stand for?
Yeah.
Resurrection. When you come back?
No. They is the curses, but they shall be upon thee for a sign and a wonder. Read it again.
And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
So the curse is going to remain on us forever. Why? Because
We disobeyed.
not just because we disobey, because what does the sign say? Right there. Yeah. So what does it mean? You know where you are. You know you are at Alabama and Broad Street, right? So if you're going to tell anybody where you are, you're going to go according to the sign. The crisis is upon us to be a sign to let you know who you are in the last day.
That's right.
So read it again.
And they shall be upon thee for a sign.
The curse is going to be upon you for a sign.
And for a wonder.
I wonder, who am I? Why are we getting shot on the street? Why all these bad things happen to us? Read.
And upon thy seed forever.
Upon your seed, your children forever. Because slavery happened a long time ago, right?
Generational curse.
Yes, sir. So you got your children still, the same thing happened to us, still on us. So now read down.
Verse 47. Because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart.
Stop right there. Because we didn't choose to follow God with joyfulness and happiness of, read it again, Bob.
Because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart.
Because we didn't choose to serve God with joyfulness and gladness of heart. all these curses happening to us because we choose to go according to what we want to. You following? So read it. Continue.
For the abundance of all things,
Read it again.
because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart.
So, all these curses happening to us because we were not serving the Lord with joyfulness, with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things, which is the whole earth. And the whole earth was given unto you. That's why it says that in verse 1. Remember in verse 1? If you do what God says, you're going to be above everybody. And guess what? When it says above everybody, meaning the other nation will be working for you. That's what you were created for. You were the leader. You are the head. Even today, in our lowest state, the white man will come, look what you like, and make a trend out of it. You're a trend maker. So when you see what you like and you form a product according to what you want, and all the other nations follow you. But the thing is, they're not going to tell you what you're the head.
Second Esdras 6 verse 54. And after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all.
So we all come from Adam, right? We all come from Adam. Read.
And the people also, whom thou hast chosen.
Who?
And the people also, whom thou hast chosen.
So all the people that God created, He chose one. So it says we all come from Adam, but in the people that have chosen. Read.
All this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sake.
That's what I told you earlier. The world was made for our sake, for the Israelites' sake. So you're supposed to rule the world. But because of our sin, our wickedness, our iniquity, it flipped on us. Now we become the servant, and the servant becomes the master. So you can change that by keeping the law of God, and that will change. Read what you got.
Verse 56. As for the other people, which also have come from Adam,
and the other people that come from Adam, read,
which thou hast said they are nothing.
That's not my word. The Bible said the other people that come from Adam, just like we come from Adam, we were chosen. But the other people, God says they are nothing. Nothing. Read.
But be like unto spittle, and has likened them, and has likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a bucket.
So the other people, they like a spittle. You know what a spittle is? No?
No, yes, of course not.
It just spit. They like spit. God says, not me. The word of God says the other nation, the other people are like spit.
And now, O Lord,
they are like spit, and the abundance of it, meaning put all of the other nations together, they are nothing.
That's right.
Read.
verse 57. And now, O Lord, behold, these heathen, which have ever been reputed as nothing, have begun to be lords over us.
So the other people that was always have the reputation of being nothing, they become the Lord over us, meaning the master of us, our slave masters. Read.
And to devour us. But, verse 58, but we, thy people, whom thou hast called thy firstborn, thy only begotten, and thy fervent lover, are given into their hand.
All right, so
Now give me
so now, since you know you're in Israel, right? Yes. You're an Israelite. Now listen to what God says requires of you. So, because we are an Israelite, we cannot walk the way that we used to walk. We got to recklessly, we do whatever we want to. We have to get our mind in this Bible and do what God says. Got it?
1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 3.
Read.
I would have you know that the head of every man
Paul says the head of every man, the Israelite man,
is Christ, and the head of the woman is the man,
read,
and the head of Christ is God.
so that's the order that God set up. you got God, you got Christ, you got the man and the woman. So now today, the woman become the head of the household.
That's right.
That's out of order. We have to come back to the Bible. You men, you have to rise up and take your rightful place.
That's
Be
right.
the man that God created you to be.
Every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonoring his head.
God says, every man, bro, that's for you. Every man praying or prophesying, meaning in the midst of prophecy, having his head covered, dishonor of his head. Now, in the verse above, it says, the head of man is?
The head of man is of Christ.
Okay, verse 4.
Every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonoring his head.
So, if you say that Christ is your head, verse 4 said, if you praying or in the midst of prophecy or prophesying, that's what it says. If you are praying or prophesying, having your head covered, you dishonor who?
Yourself. You're dishonoring Christ.
So what you supposed to do?
Honor Christ. That way you can be the head over your wife and then respect Christ above that.
So how do you respect Christ right now?
By following the word of God.
What is the word of God just says?
It says that I'm a king. I'm the head.
Verse 4.
Pay attention.
Every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonoring his head.
You got it?
Yeah.
What does it say?
It says, read it one more time, please.
Verse 4. Every man praying or prophesying.
Every man praying or prophesying, meaning in the midst of prophecy, when the scripture is coming out, read.
Having his head covered, dishonoring his head.
If you're in the midst of prophecy, you don't want to listen, then you're dishonoring Christ?
If you're in the midst of prophecy and your head is covered,
Yes.
you dishonor your head, which is Christ.
What is
So,
my cover?
what do you have over your head? Is it covered?
Oh.
It's very simple. It says, if your head is covered,
What time is the service?
all right. Revelation 19.
Right now, yeah.
Revelation 19:10. So, like we've seen before, to do what required of you, you have to learn this Bible. Go around men that knows the scripture and teach it to you. Because back in the day, we were not allowed to read and write, right?
Right.
But anyway, we still have pastors, we have preachers. So those preachers, how do they know the scriptures?
Right.
Somebody had to teach it to them. But who teach it to them?
It had to be us, the people that were around them.
In slavery.
Yeah.
In slavery. Who teach the Bible to those people?
The other people who were slaves.
But what I'm saying is that the Bible was written for you, right? So it says if you do what God says, you're going to be above everyone.
Right.
But now, because you didn't do what God says, you become a servant.
Right.
The person who put you into slavery, he knows that if you know the Bible for what it says, you're going to start doing what God says, then you're going to become the master again. So he teaches to you the way he wants you to know it. Instead of telling you, you need to keep the Sabbath day holy, he said you can buy and sell on the Sabbath. The law's done away with. That's what they told you, right?
Yeah.
But the scripture says from Genesis to Revelation, you have to do the commandment of God.
That's right.
So if the scripture said do what God says, who's that man who's going to tell you, no, don't do what God says?
Yeah, saying that the Old Testament doesn't exist.
That's a man that doesn't really care, that don't have you in the, he's not have the best interest of you in his mind.
Right.
All right? So read it again. Which you got, what?
Revelation chapter 19, verse 10. And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said, see thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant.
Stop right there. So John the Baptist saw the angel right here and he fell at his feet, the angel, to worship him. Yes. And the angel says, don't do it. I'm your fellow servant. Who are we supposed to worship?
Christ.
We're supposed to worship Christ and God. So people nowadays, they worship everything. They worship money, they worship a nice car, they worship a house, they worship shoes, they worship clothes. But God says we're supposed to worship Christ. The Bible says we're supposed to worship Christ. And the angel appeared to John. John fell down to worship the angel. The angel said, no, don't do it. Read.
And of thy brethren that have the testimony of Jesus.
So what is bringing out right here, the testimony of Jesus, that was in back in 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 4, where it says that every man praying or prophesying, the prophecy is anyone who has the testimony of Jesus Christ. That's the prophecy. So that's why when the scripture coming out, whether you are praying or whether it's you who bring it out or somebody else, as long as you can hear what he says, you have to take your hat off. All right?
Shalom, Israel. I'm Elder Nathaniel of Israel United in Christ. YouTube likes to shut our channels down, as some of you have noticed, ever so often. Subscribing to join IUIC will assure you will always stay connected to our YouTube accounts. We want to do our best to make sure this truth gets out. Please click and join our subscriber YouTube channel called Join IUIC to stay linked to all of our videos. So again, please make sure you subscribe to this Join IUIC channel to get your latest updates from all our YouTube channels. Shalom.